Okay, today we're going to finish up this dinner. Mitzvah tomorrow we'll learn about Purim. Okay, so we're learning about Bishulako. We discussed it has to be it has to be something that's not edible as when it's raw. If it's edible raw or it's not fit for a table of a king, the din of Bishulako doesn't apply. Okay, next din over here is the din of what's called Cholov Yisroel and Cholov Akum. Now the Mishnah says milk that was milked by a goy and a Jew did not watch the process, so then you're not allowed to use it. You're not allowed to drink it. That was the Gemara. The Mishnah says Cholov Shachol Ba'akum Ve'en Yisroel Re'ehu is forbidden to drink. Now, not only is it forbidden to drink, it says in halacha that when you supervise the milking, you have to make sure that the vessels that the milk goes into are also clean, that there's no non-Cholov Yisroel milk in there. Because even if you milk into a pail or into a vat, whatever, the different ways of doing it, you have to make sure that the mashkiach has to come earlier and make sure that the vat is clean and there's no non-Cholov Yisroel milk. Now, to explain what's going on over here like this. There's a heter from Rabbi Moshe, and lately they found a letter very strong from Rabbi Moshe against, so to speak, the heter that he gave about not having to drink Cholov Akum, about allowing to drink non-Cholov Yisroel. Which means like this. Some people say the reason why you're not allowed to drink milk that was not supervised, the milking by a Jew, was because they might mix treif milk, pig's milk, into the milk. Now, the Gemara says anything that comes from a kosher animal is kosher. Anything that comes from a non-kosher animal is treif. For instance, an ostrich is a non-kosher bird. So therefore, with ostrich eggs are forbidden. What do you call that? Caviar from sturgeon, which basically caviar is the egg, the eggs of, you have salmon caviar, you have the real good is sturgeon caviar. Sturgeon is a treifa fish, and therefore if it's a treifa fish, the eggs of it and the milk of it, and so therefore pig's milk is mamish treif. So simply there was a reason brought down in Paskim that the reason for that is because they might mix treifa milk into pig's milk into the mixture. So therefore, Rabbi Shusterman wants to say that therefore nowadays that there's government supervision and the government doesn't let you do that, and there's no pigs anywhere near the vicinity of this cow farm, so to speak. So he says, what the world says, he says you drink the milk, which is not true really. When you look in his chuvas, he is lenient only if there is no Cholov Yisroel available and or somebody is sick. Somebody is sick and must have milk, and there's no Cholov Yisroel available, so he says, then you could rely on the heter of the government supervision and that there's no pigs around the area. Which, by the way, even according to his heter, that only applies in a country where there is government supervision. A lot of European countries, they don't have government supervision. So then everybody says you're not allowed to drink that milk because it's not the whole heter is because the government will catch you and they'll fine you and there's a big fine and all that. But that only works, even that heter only works in a place where there's government supervision that's strict. In a place, for instance, China. It's a dirty word today, China. But a country like China where there's no supervision at all, everybody does whatever they want, there's no heter in the world to drink non-Cholov Yisroel milk in China or any such countries because the Chachamim said you might mix pig's milk into it, especially people have pigs all over the place and this and that. But again, Rabbi Moshe writes in their letter they found recently that came out from Rabbi Moshe years ago was it's only what this said he was mated, it was only in a place where there's somebody is sick or there is no Cholov Yisroel available. And he writes clearly in a place where there's Cholov Yisroel available, so then what?
Only for babies that need it.
He said chayla. That's a din of a chayla. A baby is a din of a chayla. Under two, a child is a din of a chayla. Okay, so they gave it a name, Cholov Stam. They don't want to call it Cholov Akum, because Cholov Akum means what the Gemara says, the Mishnah says you're not allowed to drink it. So they call it Cholov Stam. But it's a very big thing. According to Hasidus, Chassidim were very, very strict about this Cholov Yisroel bit. And it says in the Chassidus, the expression that if you drink non-Cholov Yisroel milk, Cholov Stam, it's Metama Chabad Shebemayach. It impurifies the Chabad, the intellect of the person. So people, especially in Lamashal, we live in LA, yeah, where there's availability of Cholov Yisroel, there's really no heter to be able to not use Cholov Yisroel products. To the extent, that's just to show how far it goes. The Ramah brings down in the dinim of Cholov Akum, the Ramah in Shulchan Aruch brings down that from non-Cholov Yisroel to Cholov Yisroel, you have to kosher the utensils. Ad k'dei kach. You have to kosher the utensils. It's like treif, and you need to kosher utensils. So those that are mekel today with Cholov Stam, they hold, okay, it's only a chumrah, and therefore you don't have to kosher the kelim, but as far as like we're concerned, you have to kosher the kelim, it's mamish like treif, and you have to kosher the kelim. But that's the thing where today, when you can get Cholov Yisroel, the kelim are treif. Therefore, like this, let me just explain it, taking it a step further. Years ago, when things said, okay, and again, OU, okay, do not guarantee necessarily Cholov Yisroel. If there's OU dairy, does not mean it's Cholov Yisroel, but they're relying on the heter that you can have a non-Cholov Yisroel also, Cholov Stam they call it. But when it says OUD, it's mamish, usually there's milchiks in the ingredients. Lately they started and then they stopped it again. There was a time they were writing OUDE. OKDE. What does DE mean? Dairy equipment. Which means it's really not milchik, it's pariv, but it's made on milchik kelim. On milchik kelim. That are not necessarily kashered, number one, because if you hold it's only a chumrah, they won't kasher it. But what it does mean, why are they telling you OUDE? Because if, let's say, an example, they have something that's OUDE, let's say, yeah? Because it's made on milchik kelim, even though it's fleshik, even though it's 100% pariv, you can't eat it with fleshiks together. Even if you don't keep Cholov Yisroel. You still can't eat it together with meat. You can eat it before or after, but you can't eat it together with the meat itself. Okay? So that's why they write DE. But for people that keep Cholov Yisroel, then you can't eat it at all because it's still made on the equipment that we hold need to be kasher, then they don't kasher the utensils. That's why you have these issues, let's say, the whole issue, I don't want to get into it too much, with Starbucks and all these places, yeah? Even if you want to drink, let's say, a black coffee, you have to really know if you're allowed to or not. Because if they use the same kelim for the black coffee that they do for the dairy coffee, which is not Cholov Yisroel, so then if you keep Cholov Yisroel properly, then you wouldn't be able to drink the black coffee. The what?
If you go to like coffee, can you have like tea there, or is that not the same?
Again, I'm not saying you can't. The question is, what are the facts?
Yeah.
Is the tea made in the same utensils as dairy equipment, or are they washed together in the same hot dishwasher? Then it would be an issue. If they have separate things for tea, and separate things for coffee, and they don't mix them together, and the tea is pariv and they never put dairy into the tea, so then it would be fine. You understand? I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's no good. The question, what are the facts? I'm just mentioning, and people have to be aware of the facts. Because if you have ice cream that says OUD, a lot of the ice creams say OUD, yeah? The real good ones say OUD. If you keep Cholov Yisroel, you can't eat them because not Cholov Yisroel. What?
So, Moshe gave a heter for the use of milk in case of an emergency.
In a case of emergency, he said, where there is no Cholov Yisroel, or somebody is sick.
So,
Now, the people say that Rabbi Moshe allowed his kids, his children, to eat not Cholov Yisroel. That's what they say. But I also heard that Rabbi Moshe didn't eat in his children's house because of that. Now, is it true or not? I don't know. I don't know if the first statement is true. I don't know if the second statement is true. They could be both not true, both true, and both one true, two not true. Ramesh himself only kept Cholov Yisroel. That's a given. He writes clearly himself that he only kept Cholov Yisroel.
So he would say about a chocolate that has Cholov Stam in it that there's no heter because it's not a matter of if you're healthy.
Correct, but people utilized this heter. They extended it.
Because a cup of milk.
There's another issue with milk. One second. It's not for now because it's late. There's a big argument in halacha: is powdered milk Cholov Stam or not? There's a big machlekes in poskim because they hold it can't become gelled. It can't become the way they make pig's milk can't make powdered milk. Basically, the way the makeup of it is, you can't create powdered milk. So you say powdered milk must only be from a kosher animal. This is what the same thing with butter. They're posking the whole butter can never be made from pig's milk. If butter can never be made from pig's milk, so then obviously it doesn't apply to them. But we don't hold like that anyway. But even those that do, a lot of the chocolates are made with powdered milk, not actually milk. Like most of the eggs today, by the way, you go into a bakery, you think the bakery sits there and cracks eggs? You have to be a fool to think the guys in the back of the bakery sit there and crack thousands of eggs. They all use powdered eggs.
So on a plane, can you get a hot?
I'm not saying you could or you can't.
What was the nicer?
I don't know. There are those that are machmer, there are those that are make. I don't know. I'm going to tell you it's a question and a fact. Okay.